Okay, today I'm working on my headlights on my Mercedes C350. And I watched a few videos on YouTube, and some people showed taking the light out, some people showed taking this whole bumper loose, some people showed taking all this out. But I found an easy way to do this. And first of all, these are Xenon lights. Let me show you what they look like. Not all of these have them, obviously, but mine has this model. It has this little square box. This is a connection. This is all one piece. I don't know if you can see that, but on some of them it shows you just pulling this off right here, the bulb portion. But mine doesn't do that. These are what you call, I think that's pronounced Xenon. These bulbs, I paid $104 for one of these at AutoZone, and I changed it out. And there's two things you need to know. There is, see if I can get it. There's a place right here. It's your inside bulb, but it's usually your low beam, and it's out here, so you might get them confused. So make sure you come to the one out here. This just clips off like that, and then you can twist the bulb. You'll twist it counterclockwise, and it'll pop out. You just unplug it, plug it in, and stick it back in there, turn it clockwise, and then put your cap back on. And then if it's your inside one, it's this one right here. And it's easy to get them mixed up, so first of all, make sure you don't do that. But if you change your bulb, your Xenon bulb, it may not be bad. It may be this thing, which is your ballast for these lights. And this is what was wrong with mine. That $104 bulb nothing was wrong with it. And it turns out it's this ballast. You can see how dirty looking it is, and they seem to get water in them or something and short them out. And if you get this from Mercedes, I think it was $700 or $800 to have this part fixed. And I've seen them as low as $20 on Amazon, and I bought the $20 one, and it works so far. Now, how long it's going to last, I don't know. It's Chinese made, but I guarantee you, if it's not made in Germany, it's probably Chinese made. So if you want to buy a German made one, original part, you can pay for it and you can get it. But even if you had to change this thing 20 times, you couldn't spend that much money. So I'm going to try it and see. I'll report back later. But I took these off, and you pull this back, and you can see right here I'm pointing to. It just has 3 screws, and the problem is there's a little plate here that's in the way, and I've taken it loose, and there's 3 screws to take that loose. There's one right under here, and look down in here, there's 2 screws right here. I've already taken them out. But then it just comes completely loose, but you can see it screws down right there. Okay, I got a small update here. I told you there were 2 screws down there, but there's actually 4. 1, 2, and then 3 and 4. You have to take all those off to get this bracket off, and there's one underneath over there where I originally showed you. A little tip, it took me a while to get this back together. Put these 2 bolts in first before you do any of those, because these are the 2 that are hard to get to, a little harder to get to, and a little harder to line up. So if you have it loose, it's easier to get those 2 in there. Again, put these 2 on the side in first. Then I'd put the one on the other end, and then put these 2 in right here. Put them in last. So that's a little helpful tip on that. And that moves that plate completely out of the way, and that's easy to get in there. It's a T20. Let me find the whole part. There's 3 bolts right here, and they're a T20 Torx bolt. And you take those out, and this thing just unplugs. Plug the new one in, put your 3 bolts in, put those 3 pieces in and 3 screws in, and you're done. It's that simple. And so there's no need to take all this bumper off. You probably don't even have to jack it up. It just made it easier to get in there for me. Got it a little higher and easy to work on. And this thing, these C model Mercedes sit so low to the ground, especially mine. Mine's a sport model, and it sits real low to the ground. There's not much clearance, so I jacked it up. And just turn your tire in. Don't take your tire off. I've seen people take the tire off. There's no need for all that. Once I got that plate out of the way with the 3 bolts, it's easy to get to. It's simple to unplug it, plug it back in. And actually, with this kit I bought, I actually got the $30 one because it came with a new bulb, just in case. For $10 more, I figured, hey, I'll buy this one and get the bulb. Plus, it comes with new cables, but you don't need that. You just unplug this from the ballast. It was already plugged in. I unplugged it. You don't need that. And so you get a few extra parts for $10 more, basically. So that's the one I bought. But the part number on that thing, here, I'll give you the part numbers for the original. I can't remember what it was on the other one. It's 10R-04 13266. And you can find those all over Amazon, eBay. And like I said, I bought mine right here around Thanksgiving. It might have been a Black Friday sale, I don't know, but they were on sale for even cheaper than what the price was reduced. But you could get one of these. If you just need this, you can get a ballast for 20 bucks. Has the same part number, looks exactly like this, probably made in the same factory. That number right there, I don't know if you can see that number, AIS 12 ICUK. What I do with the old one, I was going to look because there's a number on the back of the old one like that. Oh, this is the old one, I'm sorry. What I do with the new one? Or no, that's the new one, I'm sorry. What I do with the old one? I think it has that same, yeah, it has that same number on the back. So that number must be pertinent as well. AIS, or maybe that's an ALS. I don't know if you can see that or not. There it is. I don't know if that matters. There's the Mercedes part numbers, in case you want to try to match the original part. But again, here's the one off Amazon, the Chinese piece. I mean, I'm sure it's made in China. It doesn't say that, but I noticed you could order them from China for even less. You had to wait 2 or 3 weeks shipping to save $3 or $4 maybe. And I don't want to be riding around with a cockeye. You get pulled over and get a ticket for it. They're bad about that where I live. So anyway, we'll do that one more time. If you can see down in there, I hope. It's a little dark. There's 2 screws on the top side for that plate, and there's 1 screw blocking my light here. There he is. Slides right in there and plugs in. And then you got 3 screws, 3 T20 Torx. And then put your plate back on, put these back in, and you're done. It's really that simple. It's not hard at all. And I try to do it the way the original said and take all this apart, and it's just, I had half of this off, and it's just really frustrating. Don't do that. Okay, again, if you change your Xenon or Xenon, I think is, I guess that's how you say that. But if you have your light that looks like that one right there, your bulb, and you change it out, it's your low beam. And that seems to be the one everybody's changing out. It's either right or left. Mine was on the right. And one of the things that was happening was I noticed right before it went out, I had moisture in here. And I've looked, there's no cracks, there's no breaks, there's nothing. So how the moisture got in there, and it's dry right now, but how the moisture got in there, and they say that's what makes these things go bad, moisture drips down into them, and I can see mine looks, I don't know if you can see it, it looks a little corroded in there. I see some, it looks like some oxidation in there. So I'm guessing that's what happened. How the moisture got in there, there's no cracks, it's not coming apart anywhere I can see. But what I did do is I went through a car wash a few days prior, and I'm thinking some kind of pressure from that car wash got water in here, and that got down into that ballast and ruined it. But for $25, you know, I'd rather change it 10 times than pay $700, and that's just for the part. I think it was $400 or $500 to $700. You can look it up and see. But it was high, really high. And then you got to pay Mercedes to change it out, and I think it's considered an hour's worth of work or so, hour and a half, and I'm sure they probably charge $300 or $400 or $500 an hour for labor. Who knows? Anyway, I'm just telling you, you can do it yourself. If you can take out 3 bolts, you can do it yourself. So, but one of the symptoms I was getting, in case I kept getting the notice that my right blinker wasn't working first. That's how it started. And I'd get out and my blinker would be working, but it would be, you know how when your blinkers burn out, it clicks real fast, click, 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 click. It was doing that and I would get a message on my dash saying, right blinker is out, right front blinker, but it wasn't out. I'd get out and it would be blinking, you could see it. It's blinking on the rearview mirror there, it's blinking here, it's blinking on the side, everything was working perfectly. But I'd keep getting that message. And then all of a sudden, I got out and looked and this low beam was out the next day or something. I noticed because it was real dark. I was driving down the road and I said, man, it's so dark. I thought, well, maybe I started looking up on the internet and I saw a couple of places that said that sometimes your message, you might get a message that your blinker's bad or going out, and it turns out it's something else in your right front, like the running light or the low beam or high beam or something of that nature. And that was another thing. None of my high beams would come on. But once I changed this out, I tested it and my high beams come on. So probably the only problem is your ballast. And you know, I read up on this thing and somebody was recommending you got to change your SAM out, which I think it's in this fuse box, it's part of that fuse box. And they were saying that was what was causing it, that's what's bad. And so, yeah, if you've got, I think it's from about 2000, if you've got one of these Xenon bulbs, you've got a ballast. Just put it like that. So I don't know what model you got, but you need to make sure you get the right one. But I've seen several. This is a W204 body model. So if you've got a W204 body model, then that's the part you need for certain. Because even though I went on Amazon and put that part number in, it kept telling me it wasn't correct for my vehicle, but it fit my vehicle fine. It works perfect. I've tested it, it works, and everything's working right now. My low beam's on, my high beams all come on again. So, yeah, don't go tearing into your wiring or trying to replace your SAM. I forget what that stands for. It's like your computer that runs a lot of your electronics. Supposedly, if that's going bad, you get all kind of errors, not just in one location. You'll get errors all over your car, all over your dash. And the only problem I had, it kept saying my right front blinker wasn't working, but it was. But it was just confusing, probably because that ballast was out. I don't know if there's a message that tells you your ballast is out or not, but I didn't get one and my ballast was bad. Otherwise, I'm good to go again. We'll show you here. Make sure my lights are on. And you can see both sides are burning now like they're supposed to. And if you look up there, you can see the lights going bright now. I couldn't even get my bright lights to work for a long time. I guess that's probably why. Right blinker works, left blinker works. I'm not getting any more messages. So that was the trick. So I hope that's helpful to you. It was real helpful for me. It made it so much easier. And I'm gonna put this back together and call this a fix. So any questions, drop them in the comments, and I'll try to respond back when I get a chance to read them. Thanks for watching.